Hello, I'm LaShonda Yates, and I am here with Carol Schluter, who is the editor of the ABWA newsletter for Crescent City Connections Express Network. And we're so glad to be sitting with Carol today and talking about the newsletter that is put out once a quarter. And yeah, so we'll just get started with, can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself?
I sure can. I joined the chapter 2 years ago, and right after I retired from Tulane University uh, after 24 years as the director of the publications office. And prior to that, I'm not a New Orleans native. I'm a native Houstonian, native Texan, but I've lived here since 1980, so I feel like a New Orleanian and Saints fan for sure. Um, so when I retired, I wanted to keep my hand in with the entrepreneur community because I wanted to continue to write. My training is as a writer, reporter, marketing, um, public relations, corporate communications. I've had a long kind of diverse career. Um, so I wanted to continue to meet women who were out there in the work world and doing interesting things, and our chapter has plenty of those.
Oh, yes.
It's been really a good experience. I've enjoyed meeting our members and learning all the diverse things that they do. It's really been fun.
Cool. So, and we'll keep you after, since the 80s is when you moved here? Yeah, you're in New Orleans.
Yes.
New Orleanian for sure.
Once you've had king cake, you can't go back.
I agree.
Or as someone once told me, once you live in New Orleans, you're not prepared to live anywhere else.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm here.
Okay, cool. So, about the newsletter, can you talk a little bit about what your vision has been for the newsletter since you've
Okay.
taken over?
Um, uh, I was asked to take on the project by Amy Landry, our president, and Eula Godin, who's our VP of Communications, and they're terrific to work with. The chapter hadn't had a newsletter in about 2 years. Um, and so our national office really wants the chapters to have a newsletter at least quarterly. So they talked to me about taking it on, and so I agreed to do it. And so it's been really interesting and fun, and I love to write, so it kind of fits my reporter nature, I guess you'd say. So our vision for it right now is to um, uh, first provide a platform for our president for people to get to know her, and so that's one thing. Another thing is I do little short pieces on each of the speakers we've had for our meetings. We have some terrific speakers, and for people who might miss a meeting, that way they can kind of catch up and see what they've been missing, and hopefully it'll inspire them to um, continue to come to meetings because we do have some terrific programming. Um, so I try to give updates for um, events that are coming up that we want to be sure and take part in. Uh, I'm working right now on the newsletter for the end of March, which this video piece will be in. But you know, we knew we wanted to have information about the Equal Pay Day event coming up, um, and I've also tried to do some pieces, some feature kinds of pieces about interesting members and interesting our officers who to get to know who they are. So I'm always looking for content and ideas from anyone out there who might want to uh, have something interesting to share.
Okay. So it sounds like it's both a practical letter where it's helping everyone stay up to date, but it's also got this personal side where we get to know the president a little bit and we get to know you a little bit more. And all right, so that's it sounds like since you took over the newsletter, you've really tried to add your own personal touch to it. Would you say that it's changed a lot from before to now?
I would say it's kind of been our plan all along to have those kinds of things that are part of it. Um, I would like to have uh, more information again about the people in our chapter who are doing interesting things, such as I did a new member profile in the previous issue about Mackenzie Ellis, who is a new member who uh, is writing a book on low salt recipes. And she's quite interesting, and she shared some recipes with us to include in the piece. So all in all, I want to draw readers in because, you know, we all get so many emails, you know, not necessarily just our chat, but just during a day, you know. So I want people to see it and think, oh, I have to go check this out. So that's my hope. But I'm always looking for ideas. So if anyone has something that they'd like to share or a thought about what we should do. We also include photography and photographs of when possible of things that events that have happened or pictures of people and to make it more interesting.
So let's take a moment to do something a little bit different. What is a fun fact, something that we might not guess about you?
You might not guess about
You already mentioned that you were from Houston earlier.
Yes.
And I was shocked when you first told me that last time we spoke. I did not know that you were from Houston.
I don't sound like I don't have a Texas drawl.
You don't have a drawl for sure, but I assumed, you know, that you were born and bred New Orleanian. So is there anything else that comes to mind that?
Well, one thing that people might not know is that I love to sing. Now, before you think I'm Taylor Swift or something like that, that's not the case. I am an alto, which is a deeper voice, and I like choral singing. And I've sung in choirs since I was in elementary school. So one thing that's great about being retired is I have more time now, so that I rejoined the New Orleans Symphony Chorus, and so we rehearse once a week, and we're getting ready for a concert actually later early mid-April. So it's a great joy to be part of a group singing, and it always lifts my soul, shall we say.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. So I guess the last question I have for you is, what is one action that you would hope that our members might take in regards to the newsletter? Whether it be, like, one of the things I remember you mentioning is that you're always looking for new material, you know, whether it's a personal profile, maybe somebody's doing something interesting. What is one thing that you would hope for our members to take action on in regards to the newsletter?
Well, one thing they could do, I'll say two things. One would be to share the newsletter with some friends of yours that you think might be interested in joining the chapter, because we need members, and we'd like you to bring in new members. So you can forward the link to someone else and say, hey, this is what we're doing. It's exciting. Why don't you come and join me at a meeting? So that would be one thing. The other thing is anyone who wants to communicate and send information for possible use in the newsletter, just shoot me an email. My email address is my initials, cjs@tulane.edu. So I look forward to hearing from anybody.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Carol. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Rashonda.